What's up, guys? Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. Hope everyone's doing well today, and I hope you enjoy this one. We're going to dive into a bunch, specifically some altcoin charts, talk about the previous cycles and what we could expect for this one. I'm absolutely excited for the future. It is great to see volume coming back into the market. Not that there won't be crashes on the way up as well, but overall things are looking good compared to the previous cycles. Even looking at the altcoin market, the RSI is in an interesting point entering into overbought. So, does that mean that we are officially going to be breaking out of this accumulation that has been at the bottom of this range for hundreds of days, like we saw for the last bear market? And even looking at the crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin, so just the altcoin market, you can see we're in this accumulation for hundreds and hundreds of days, finally waking up. Each time we hit the top of this resistance is getting weaker and weaker, and it looks like we're breaking through. If we can continue to break through and close above, these fair value gaps above and sell side imbalances are likely going to be hit in the future, even if we just get a market retracement. Now looking at the Bitcoin price chart on the weekly, this is the 2016 cycle before the 2017 super cycle into all-time highs. We have the Bitcoin price chart today on the right-hand side. So in this cycle, we held this trend line, we retraced up to the 618 pullbacks, but overall holding above the 21-week EMA for support, which is very important. With this cycle, we are above the 50% Fibonacci retracement today. If we see a full weekly close in the coming weeks or months, I'm going to be getting very excited. If we retrace all the way back up to the 618, that is at 48,000, where we're typically met with some resistance. So markets are exciting, the greed is high, but compared to the previous cycle tops, the greed index still has a lot higher to go. So big picture, if this is actually en route to an all-time high price, we want to hold above this trend and likely stay above with candle bodies over this EMA. On the other hand, comparing it to the previous cycle, and hopefully you can see this chart, it's a tad blurry. The previous cycle for Bitcoin in 2018-2019 also retraced to the 618 Fibonacci retracement, just like 2016. We never closed a full weekly above the 50%, fell all the way back down, and then March 2020 with a strong V-shaped recovery. But you'll notice during the March 2020 crash, V-shaped recovery above this trend line and back above the 21 EMA for support in bullish territory. So we don't know exactly what the future holds for this cycle, but big picture, I want to see us stay above the 21 EMA because historically that is where the trend remains bullish. Of course, I want alts to full send here and it's possible, but just be mindful of Bitcoin. It has had 7 or 8 very strong weeks to the upside. A pullback is just a matter of time, which could offer even better entries for alts. Whether Bitcoin just comes back to that fair value gap at 35K or we even go a little bit lower in the 30Ks, I still want to see us hold above this trend line in the 21 EMA. Now regarding Bitcoin in the historical volatility index or the BVOL, then we'll dive into gold at an all-time high, which is very similar to the previous cycle. We did a longer video going over Bitcoin's historical volatility index in the past. I just want to point out that we're still very low at the bottom of this range. In the previous bull runs, we were well above 50, even as high as 170, almost 190. And what I'm looking for this coming cycle is for the BVOL to increase dramatically, Bitcoin's volatility to increase, and big pumps to come with that. In this coming cycle, I absolutely expect that the Bitcoin Volatility Index gets back into this box ranging even from 50 to 100 plus. The BVOL has been up here in this box above 50 during every bull run, including when Bitcoin is at an all-time high. Another thing we saw this week is gold reaching an all-time high price over 2,100. This is the highest price in history for gold. In previous cycles from the March 2020 low, it pushed into an all-time high price. And you'll notice during this retrace 2020 all the way down to early 2021, this is when we saw the biggest climb in the alt market, including Bitcoin. So gold reached an all-time high price, and during this retracement, as gold was going down, the crypto market went up. And taking a look at Bitcoin dominance, we did a video over this last month and just highlighting the alt seasons when Bitcoin dominance sees that massive crash. We can see 2017 leading to one of the biggest bull runs in history. We saw last cycle, early 2021, leading to a massive bull run. And now we see Bitcoin dominance breaking out of accumulation, showing signs of strength, potentially going even up to 58%. So what we're looking for alt season, for that potential for altcoins like we see every 2 or 3 years, doing those 5, 10, 50, even 100x returns based on market cap, we can see that Bitcoin, when it does reject any of these levels, that big fall will typically lead to a big push for the alt market. We've climbed up to 54, almost 55%. I'm looking at 58%. I don't think we go much higher than even 70% this cycle before a big crash. We have open gaps below as well. I believe when these gaps fill at even 42, 43%, we're going to see a nice move for alts. The 2017 cycle crashed all the way down to 35%, and then the previous cycle crashed all the way down to, give or take, maybe about 39%. If we make it up to 58 or 60%, that's over 30%. And if Bitcoin really surprises me and goes up to 70% dominance, which I personally don't expect at all, that would be even bigger. And that would be kind of similar to the previous cycle in terms of percent drop. Meaning that if history rhymed with the previous 2 cycles, this could be a nice alt season. Next up, for the Casper price chart, we're starting to see it waking up, volume coming. Again, volume volume is rotating into alts at random orders. Just because an alt is at an all-time low price, it doesn't mean it's a scam. As you can see, the volume is rotating into different alts like clockwork. Anybody who has actually called Casper a scam has done zero research. They have not read the white paper. They don't even know how to research or actually go through the GitHub. If you're holding something and you're genuinely worried that it's a scam, you shouldn't even be holding it. You shouldn't buy any asset until you fully research it on your own, go through all the documents and decide for yourself. You should never just watch a video, or my videos included, with any alt that I talk about. Just because I talk about it, maybe it's good for me. It might not be good for you. During bull runs, crypto is the best thing ever, but just remember, we have multiple bear markets in history where assets crash 98, almost 99% under 2 cents. During this low, in accumulation taking over 1,000 days to even break past a previous all-time high. Cardano ADA was a scam to everybody on Twitter, just saying, oh, these developments are happening, there's no price moves, what's going on, people are panicking. Then the bull run comes, it does a 160x to its all-time high. And just because ADA did a 160x doesn't mean other assets are going to do a 100x from their low. But the probability of a bull run, even Bitcoin going to an all-time high price and assets retracing a good amount with plenty of opportunity is there. So we've been talking about this for Casper all year. It's great to see some volume. We've come up to the 618, a common rejection point. Some assets have broken through this resistance and eventually get up to the 127, 1618. That is what I would ideally like to see. When we were falling down in this descending wedge, we needed volume and a breakout, and we got just that, which is great. And I'm excited and I'm optimistic for the future, but we still have levels we have to close above before I'm like, okay, we are definitely out of accumulation. We're beginning our retracement, and now we can get excited. We have the previous high just over 6 cents, which was exactly on the weekly pivot as well. And then we have the open fair value gap, a huge sell side imbalance at 7 cents. Now, if you're trading or doing scalps, that's a different story, but big picture for long-term holders of Casper, we're still in accumulation. Whether you just want to look at the top of that range over 6 cents or consider that open fair value gap all the way up here at 7 cents. For me, I have long-term holdings in Casper. I'm not selling my Casper at 4 cents, 7 cents, even 10 cents. As a long-term holder, I'm waiting for that big retracement up here. I want to see a clear breakout, maybe even a back test, but a continuation to higher levels. And if you guys have seen my previous video diving into the market cap, the circulating supply, understanding the tokenomics and inflation rate, engaging that, and even just making a forecast, I still know there is insane potential. We have examples of altcoins or top performers last cycle. If we reach that market cap in the future of Solana or Cardano, that is roughly a 150x to even higher from current prices. And if we just did what HBAR and Algo did in the future, which I absolutely believe, we're talking 13, 14x to even Algo's all-time high, that would be a 30x from today's price. And if you're being super conservative, you're like, no way, we're not going to do a 150 or 200x up here, or even up to maybe a 30x to Algo's market cap, I understand. But just looking at markets in accumulation during a retracement and a bull run with Bitcoin pushing to new highs, this asset still retraces. Even drawing a Fibonacci swing high, swing low on the weekly candle bodies and just looking at these levels, assets can get those strong retracements up to these levels. Notice the 702 is right around the open liquidity gap of 43 cents, just like HBAR. For perspective, XLM has a much larger supply than Casper, but it's still retraced up to the 100% Fibonacci retracement last cycle. Now, if you're like, that's way too crazy, I just want to be super conservative, I would just be plotting fibs on this swing high as well, the November 2021 when Bitcoin was at an all-time high. This chart is different because we don't have actual historical price action during a bull run because it's never seen one. It was born at the beginning of the bear market. And just being super conservative, even just looking at the R levels now, we'll get actual new R levels in January, by the way. I still expect a strong retracement during a bull run up to these levels. And you'll notice these R levels are right around the Fibonacci retracements as well, with the R3 right around 17 cents. And even looking at weekly pivots for Casper, yes, we hit the pivot, but we still have R levels above. In January of 2024, we're going to get new levels that I will be using as well. But we have a variety of other alts that have surpassed the P pivot and even hit some of these R levels. Injective has hit the pivot just like Casper, initially rejecting it, but later powered up to the R2, even breaking past the R3. So we're going to get new pivot levels in January, and as prices actually break out, there's going to be new levels drawn. We also had XTC go up to the R1, consolidating on the P pivot, but looking pretty strong. We had XRP also playing around the P pivot where Casper is today, and then it finally even got that huge push up to the R2 when it got official clarity is not a security, came all the way back down, and then is playing around almost to the R1. And even Bitcoin is pushing up almost to the R2. We can also see the render price chart coming all the way up to the R1. Okay, let's get into some news for alts. If you hold XRP, Casper, HBAR, even DAG, be sure to stick around for this one. So Ripple put out a new Faster Payments into Africa quick guide, an estimated $2.7 trillion market opportunity. So faster payments into Africa, we know that Ripple is tied deeply into Africa specifically for ODL, or on-demand liquidity, which uses XRP. If you're curious, I definitely recommend going through this report. In MFS Africa alone, or their new name, Anafric or Anafrique, I don't know how to say it, they are gigantic. I cannot emphasize enough how big that is. We have Mason sharing some news related to Algo. Notice that when Algo was at 9 cents, it was a scam. Now that it's just retraced up to 15 cents, people are starting to have faith in it again. This is a bear market. Bear markets affect retail expectations even if they haven't done the research and they're holding something and it crashes or it's sitting and consolidating at lows, they start calling it a scam, which I'll never understand. Now there are scams in this space, but with Algorand, it is not a scam. It sucks that it's had boring price action in a bear market. During a bull run, it has done very well. Even looking at the tokenomics, a capped finite supply of 10 billion, to think that Algo will never surpass $1, $2, or even an all-time high to me is absolutely crazy. It's totally possible. We've literally seen meme coins in this space before regulation eclipse the market cap all-time highs of a variety of utility assets. For Web3, we're basically in the year 2000, maybe even 1995. We have not seen regulatory clarity in enterprise utility at scale, not proof of concepts, widespread adoption in a variety of industry verticals and departments. So the United Nations Development Program partners with Algo, partnered to launch the Algorand Blockchain Academy, made available to over 22,000 United Nations staff in 170 plus countries. Now that Algo kit we talked about, instead of what is the programming language for Algo, Teal, it's a very low level programming language. They're actually building it now with Python, which is huge. And remember that Algorand is tied to OM5, a $43 trillion think tank where Ripple, Swift, Visa, all of these groups are tied. Next up, for Casper, we are on scanspr.com looking at the rich list. Yeah, we have some exchange listings, but we are not on the largest tier 1 exchanges like Binance, even Kraken, and Coinbase. I 100% believe that we're going to be listed on all of those exchanges in the future. Whether or not you use them, that's fine, but I want them for their market makers and liquidity. Looking at the largest Casper wallet holdings, Uphold has over $38 million in Casper, 7% of the supply. Yes, we have Casper Labs, the association, and then the team below, they have some holdings, but look at the exchanges. KuCoin has multiple wallets. This one has almost 2.5% of the entire supply. CoinList has over 4%. OKX has over 3%. Gate has 1%, Huobi or Wobi has 1%, Bitvavo recently listed as 1%. KuCoin has more than one wallet, by the way. We have MEXC with almost 1%. For a tier 1 exchange listing of Binance, Kraken, Coinbase, what do you think they're going to hold? The huge price dumps, all of the pre-sales, all of that is done, and 95% of Casper's in circulation. Other assets like HBAR, I love it and I have very high hopes in the future because it is a gigantic network. They have a huge supply that is yet to be dumped on the market. Casper doesn't. The band-aid has been ripped off in this bear market. 95% is in circulation. And 68 or close to 70% of the total supply is locked up securing the protocol, meaning that actual circulation is right around 3 billion. Not 32 or 33 billion like we have for HBAR. We also have some new metrics on XRPscan.com, an awesome website if you've ever used it. Now you can see the XRP burned as fees. The burn rate is not necessarily going to impact price, but it is slowly lowering that total supply over time per transaction. So every single XRP transaction on the XRPL burns a very minuscule amount of XRP. It is gone, it is burned, and it is removed from circulation to prevent against spam. And now we have the daily XRP payment volume as well. Next up, we have some big news for DAG, DAG of Constellation Network, and we can also see the price chart is approaching the 500-day MA. We've seen a variety of assets reach this level, maybe encounter some resistance, but when we flip the 500-day, we've typically seen a continuation to the upside. So Constellation Network unveils the Enterprise Advisory Board. Prior experience includes World Bank loan tokenization. We have Coca-Cola. We have the SVP at Procter & Gamble. We have Tech VP, Omniair, Microsoft, and Intergovernmental Advisory. We have former executives over at Microsoft. We have all of these guys that are from cloud, cybersecurity, anything related to Web 2, and they understand the value add of Web 3. So we have 2.5 or Web 2.5 that's being built that is the bridge of today's internet of Web 2 to Web 3. We have Constellation's co-founder and CSO, Ben Diggles, in this latest video unpacking the groundbreaking collaboration between Constellation, the University of Texas, the National Science Foundation, IBM, Microsoft, and more. And these are some big names. We can see pioneered novel applications of technologies to large-scale challenges, to include one project that was recognized as a top 100 solution in the United States by the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. Microsoft executive bringing together the Global 2000 and the Fortune 500 partnerships of people and technology that demonstrate rapid deployment and reliable operations. This guy nominated by the president and confirmed by the Senate to represent the United States at the World Bank. And if you want to learn more, you can check out this article covering this by Yahoo Finance. And we can see this retweeted by Hedera. You won't want to miss this space. We'll be exploring use cases of DLT together with SpaceX engineers in the HBAR Foundation. From Starlink satellites to the complex supply chain of spacecrafts, we will explore a wide array of DLT use cases beyond Earth. We have Roth Economy sharing Palau, Colombia, Montenegro, and Georgia. What has happened to Ripple's work with Bhutan? Has the plan changed? Not according to the central bank. Expect the pilot to roll out in a year or so as planned. So pretty cool, we can see the government or Central Bank of Bhutan working with Ripple specifically, with the development of their central bank digital currency. Roth Economy is a must follow if you hold XRP, and he also linked the sources. Also, some great info shared by Tokenizer highlighting the number of wallets, and this is important to do for every single asset to look at the potential of upside. To compare some other layer 1s in the space, Ethereum has over 250 million, Cardano over 4 million, HBAR almost to 4 million, Solana over 10 million. Notice this price action captures retail attention. When Solana did over a 500x from its low last cycle, it got attention. Avalanche 15 million, Algo 34 million, Polkadot almost 3 million, XTC almost a million. So XTC and Casper are both under 1 million. XTC is getting there, but look at this number of Casper wallet holders. To get to 1 million or even close to 4 million like HBAR is orders of magnitude higher. When these solutions are used and retail investors, speculators, institutional investors are holding, that is removed from the supply and circulation. And for every transaction on Casper's network, when they connect to the public network, even if it's a hybrid instance and 90% are hybrid, meaning that 90% will need the Casper public network and 100% of the transactions on the public Casper network require Casper. The thing a lot of people don't realize about Casper versus HBAR is for HBAR, it requires a bunch of transactions to even drive demand. The thing with Casper, yes, transfers are 0.1 Casper, which is cheap, but smart contracts or complex code requires much more. We've seen some WASM transactions for Casper, 10 Casper, 20 Casper, but the bigger applications that launch in the future could be 50 or 100 Casper per transaction. And people will say, wait, isn't that way too expensive? Well, it's governance, so they can vote to lower it at any time. But when you're looking at Fortune 500s, the only way they actually migrate to a blockchain solution is to save on cost and protect themselves. When you know the multiple billions of dollars that will be saved by enterprises adopting these solutions or even making money, it's a no-brainer. These are some use case studies that you can look up. Saving up to $15 billion per year by reducing paperwork and fraud. Blockchain could save $20 billion per year by reducing transaction fees and improving efficiency. Getting rid of middlemen, all these intermediaries, and all of the fees that come with it, and the risk of getting to each middleman. With blockchain, smart contracts, and code, you are just trusting the code. Blockchain could save the insurance industry up to $10 billion per year, reducing fraud, improving compliance. Healthcare even bigger, up to $100 billion. In energy, which is going to be one of the biggest narratives in the future, even today, up to $1 trillion per year. A study by McKinsey found that blockchain could save the energy industry up to $1 trillion. And last but not least, we have iTrustCapital linked in the top of this YouTube video description and in the pinned comment. If you use that link and create a free account, you get a $100 funding reward. I've had a Roth IRA with iTrustCapital since January of 2020 for tax-free trading and investing in the crypto asset class, including precious metals. So we have precious metals like gold and silver, as gold is pushing into an all-time high price, and Bitcoin since the beginning of this year has surged over 140%. Having a Roth IRA over the coming years in the crypto asset class to me is a no-brainer. Of course there is risk. There's risk in altcoins, but over the past 3 cycles there have been insane returns and rewards during the bull runs. So because of that, I have a nest egg as a Roth IRA in the crypto asset class. I can remove it anytime. I can go back into the S&P 500 if I wanted to go with Vanguard, but I'm keeping this Roth IRA specifically in crypto over the long term. 30 plus assets and more on the way. I'm excited for them to get into tokenized real estate, offer different types of security offerings, etc. Remember, it's free. There's no monthly fees, no management fees, no hidden fees you're going to get billed from, just a 1% transaction fee whenever you buy and sell. If you hold it for the long term, you're not paying any fees whatsoever. But I like it because during a bull run, I can scale out my sells and sell directly into the US dollar. I don't have to hold a stable coin and have counterparty risk. So be sure to check it out. Even if you're looking to just create a $1,000 nest egg over the long term, this is one of the few that uses a qualified custodian in the space. If they go out of business, which I don't see happening because they're last valued at over $1 billion, you still get your funds by law. Assets are held in enterprise-grade cold storage. Your assets are not being lent out. iTrustCapital has them off the balance sheet, unlike many crypto exchanges. So be sure to check out the link below if you're curious, or keep tabs on this for the future. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Huge thanks to all that hit the like button, and I'll see you next time.